Salvador Dali threw a great party. We all drank Bacardi, it got kinda gnarly. We're light as a feather, we're tougher than leather. Together we're weirder together.
Thanks for being so chill about all the fall cleaning, not spring cleaning, but we just came from like totally cleaning the house after the teenagers and the puppy made the couch and everything pretty disgusting.
Look, at this point of our marriage, our collaboration, our life together, cohabitating, I've come to realize there are inevitable mentee bees that are going to be directed at the house and its relative
Wait, what do you
state of
mean?
cleanliness.
Just my...
Yeah, you. I'm talking to you.
All right. Well, you handled it very well. Like you were chill about it this morning. Like, and I'm being more polite. I'm not just telling you move this, move that, sweep here, sweep there.
Absolutely. No, we're refining our collaboration.
And I love it.
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
I'm actually doing fantastic. I came back from a weekend of great shows. I did 2 shows in a town called Beechworth, Victoria, it's a town where Ned Kelly lived at some point. I actually stayed in Ned Kelly's cottage, which I get the feeling has the same type of authenticity as every place in LA that says Charlie Chaplin or Orson Welles lived there.
Right.
Which is like every
Right,
townhouse in
that's
LA. But it's a gorgeous little town, Beechworth, famous for their honey.
Mm-hmm.
I played a place called the Old Stone Hall, 2 sold-out shows with an excellent band from Melbourne called Convenience Store.
Nice. And
it
it's
was
got
rad.
like cowboy vibes,
Yeah.
well, Ned Kelly was an Australian cowboy.
We prefer the term outlaw,
Okay.
right? He's but yeah, he wore that tin hat. Mick Jagger played him, I think, in who made that Ned Kelly movie?
I'm a film buff, but not that.
Yeah.
Not that.
You ain't buffing that big. But Convenience Store was really fun to hang out with because there aren't that many people in Australia who, I like to watch all the different scenes around the world and see what's going on. And they pay a lot of attention to, like, they knew Brad Trammell and Carvey and, a lot of the stuff.
Right. Okay.
So it was like really fun to talk to them about.
Right. They knew the whole Dime Square thing.
Yeah, exactly. Ion Pack and all that. So we had a good gossip.
That's fun.
And they're just a great band who are really weird, which I love. And they're like
weirder together.
Yeah, I love when you meet a band that their path to success is not going to be conformity. It's going to be doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And it's super cool. And Carvey actually texted in the week saying how much he's loving your book.
I know. I'm so excited. Did you see I wrote texts and then unsent them?
No, I didn't see that.
Because I was like, I wanted to do this. I started being almost like a student of Carvey's, who's a film teacher and
Director,
a filmmaker. But so I became like a student, and I was sort of like asking for his approval in a weirdest way.
Oh, you were trying to impress Daddy.
I know, but he was already impressed.
Yeah, that's right.
So I unsent.
But also a famously difficult person to pull praise out of.
Yeah.
So that was a win. You took the W.
What does that mean?
Win.
Got it.
Versus
I took it. A loser.
Yeah, L. A loss. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of Love on the Spectrum, so I'm sort of...
Oh, yeah, you're tapped into that.
I'm sounding a little spectrum-y at the moment.
How did you like this season of Love on the Spectrum?
I mean, how can you not like it? It's so good.
Yeah. Connor has, I feel like, really taken... He's really won the world's hearts this season.
And Danny finally getting somebody to fool around.
Oh, my God. Danny needed to get laid so badly.
I know. I'm so glad because she was with a religious person.
She was like an incel. Like she was an involuntary celibate. She did not want to be celibate.
No.
Yeah.
But
and
now she's
now,
happy.
Yeah, she's getting it.
You can tell. There's a sparkle in her eye.
She's carrying a postcoital glow.
Yes.
That's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about your book launch at the Lord Dudley in Sydney.
So fun
this week.
Yeah, it's so fun. I mean, this pub is such an old school pub, and everybody came and it felt very warm and cozy. And I read some of the book, and I don't know, it was just fab. And looking back at the pictures, I had our teenager with her friends watching me read, and they did great speeches, and my kids did lovely speeches, and it was just perfect. It was a perfect small room filled with people can be such a great vibe.
Yeah, we had it on the 3rd floor of the Lord Dudley, which is called Dusty's Whiskey Bar. And it was great. I know both the girls, I was really touched by what they said about you and how just genuinely proud of you they are.
Right.
You know?
Because, Goldie was saying she knows that I'm a weirdo. Whatever, I don't remember what she said, but I could tell it was nice. I was a little bit nervous because I was reading.
Yeah.
That was
really
great.
sweet.
It was really, really good. And there's
cool.
more promotion.
Yeah, there's events coming up, right? I think Gertrude and Alice is sold out in Bondi, but we've just announced Brisbane at Avid Reader, and we're setting up something in Melbourne, hopefully with Kate Jinks and the See Also team.
Fabulous.
So we have a little Melbourne event, which is pretty good.
What else is going on in the world, Ben?
What else is going on? Well, if you are a TikTok user, you woke up today or yesterday and your FYP was flooded with China manufacturer TikTok, they're calling it. And it was it's manufacturers of luxury goods basically offering to sell direct to the American and worldwide consumer. And this is clearly an outright act of warfare, consumer warfare.
Right.
Directed by the Chinese government, hitting back against Donald Trump and the trade tariffs. And wow, I mean, what an act of warfare. Like, it's amazing just that, like, I mean, this is the current landscape. It's the internet, and who wins the internet and who captures people's minds is the winner on any given day. And I do think Trump severely underestimated who he was going into battle with.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So all of these manufacturers, suddenly it was like done so cohesively and tidily.
I've known about that. You could buy stuff, a knockoff, which really wasn't a knockoff. I mean, I always remember Marc Jacobs years ago, name dropping Marc Jacobs, but he said it's the same stuff. He said years ago about, his stuff.
Well, that they were actually being made at the same factories.
Yeah.
Same
and
materials,
I thought that
everything.
was kind of cool that he said that. But it's sort of it's taken away the glamour. What's it in True Blood? It's called being glamorized.
Yeah, so it's de-glamorizing.
I'm de-glamorized by America, which I didn't want to do. Although, you know me, I'm a real kind of a radical. I mean, that sounds dumb, but my upbringing, I'm kind of on the left.
Yeah.
But
Your uncle owned an anarchist bookshop.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Revolution Books in New York. But I just still was glamorized by America. And, the royal family, I had to kind of deprogram myself. So now I think it's and all the propaganda that we've had about China and other countries. I mean, I knew it wasn't true, but I also, after a while, you kind of forget what's, so I think this is really
There are a lot of levels to it.
interesting.
Because on one hand, I mean, no one really believed it costs Hermes $15,000 to make a Birkin bag. It's just, obviously, there's a tremendous markup going on. And it also doesn't fully account for like for instance, like when I play a concert, you could go, oh, this concert is only costing him the cost of the guitar, his clothes, and the PA rental to put on. But you're also paying for the years of construction of my songs, and you know what I mean? Like, I'm selling an experience too.
Sure.
So there's like a subtle misrepresentation
for me,
of what
it's
things
not
cost.
about oh wow, I can't believe that it costs this much to make.
Lululemon costs $5 or $6.
Right, that's
yoga clothes.
That's fine, and the label, they kind of can charge more because they're the designers and they made the whatever. They have the brand for years,
and they're spending money on marketing.
But what's interesting to me is just it felt like maybe China was just or other countries who do it, we're just we're playing the game. Like, we're in a business. We're not going to out all this stuff because you guys are getting your money and we're working here. But now it's just sort of let me just show you that what you think our life is like is not what it's really like. And there's a lot of people who are being taken care of medically and by, the government, putting money into kind of infrastructure, and look at America. It's not it's like this fear of communism is so intense.
Yeah, undoubtedly the Chinese government reinvested the money into society, and that's what we're seeing.
That's what's interesting to me, that just taking away the kind of propaganda stuff more than just, oh, this costs this much to make and we're marking it up to sell it.
The other thing that is really interesting is if anyone had any doubt that social media platforms are tools that can have their knobs adjusted by the powers that be in order to push the messages that they want to push through, that is crystal clear now. Like clearly this was a top-down order that came. I mean, I wonder whether the Chinese government actually facilitated sending camera crews out because all of these videos are so well made.
I know, but
and they were turned around so quickly.
And the people were really like, seemed so kind of nice, and I don't know, but it's fascinating.
Look, we're also in the business of churning out social media content, and I think we need to get some of these, Chinese government social media, crews in here and
I feel
help us turn around real fast.
We've got a good
we got a good setup too.
We've got the good lighting.
Absolutely.
So Bon Iver has a new album.
Yeah, we were listening today to Sable
It's very
Fable.
like R&B and like almost like I don't know. I love it. I love when you put on an album in the morning. We were cleaning. This is one of my favorite happy things is cleaning, playing a new album, and I don't know why. It makes me so happy. And there's
just a good vibe going on.
Yeah.
Well, Justin Vernon, Bon Iver, is one of the best examples of an artist who makes so many choices that shouldn't work but do. On this album, he's been delving in this world of like yacht rock, Bruce Hornsby, mixed with like
He's not the
R.
only
Kelly.
one. He's not the only one. There's been a wave, right?
Totally.
I'm not dissing him, but I'm just asking, has there been a wave?
Yeah, but he's been right there on the forefront of, and then on this album he's brought in McGee and Dijon, who are sort of doing it in a slightly different way, and it just works.
McGee and Dijon, great names. I don't know who you're talking about, but I love those names. McGee and Dijon.
I've played you their stuff before.
That's a band.
Well, it's McGee's a guitar player and Dijon's a singer. I've shown you videos of them jamming and stuff.
Oh, of course. Now I know.
So Justin Vernon brought them in, and it's a perfect match. It's one of those things like when you see an artist operating at the peak of their powers, it's an extraordinary thing, it just works. And even the whole rollout of the album, there's a lot of elements that if it was being done by other people, it would be more cringy. Right. Like there's a lot of like cross branding stuff and merch but which I sometimes I find it a bit like over the top. The fact that everything has to be so heavily branded
What's
right now.
The merch?
Weirder Together podcast, tune in. He's actually selling sable fish. The album's called Fable Sable.
Oh, okay.
And he's selling these pink tins of tinned fish.
Your mother would love that.
Yeah, it's really, my mom is the target market.
A friend of mine, Jenny Connor, always remembered she had extra sable fish, and your mother was visiting LA and she gave some to your mother for some reason.
Yeah, there was extra.
And then Jenny's never forgotten.
I was all brought in from Russ and Daughters in New York, that stuff. But anyway, back to Bon Iver. But it's just, I think the thing about Justin Vernon that separates him from, a lot of these other people that are doing these sort of whole universe building type careers.
Not like us.
Not like us. But his taste is kind of off. And I love it. Like his melodies, they're never the predictable melody.
Right.
Like
which
he
is
always tweaks it and goes
on
somewhere
purpose he does it off.
Yeah, I think it's just who he is. And I think it's his I think he pushes himself to be original and unique, and it's really good.
Thelonious Monk.
Yeah, straight up.
Similar.
So I really enjoyed it. Now, another thing I really enjoyed this week was the Moore Park Dachshund, or Dachshund, as the Americans say, festival that we attended yesterday. Now, a lot of our listeners would know that I have done my time in cults before. I was in a Qigong cult. I was in a Peruvian ayahuasca cult, and I had a Hindu guru. None of these cults come close to being an owner of one of these little sausage dogs. The owners are so intense, and this festival was mega.
I'm surprised there hasn't been like a cartoon about like dachshunds like sort of infiltrating in this like hive mind, because it is true. You get one and you get like you're in the cult.
Yeah,
like,
you're
I don't
obsessed.
know what happened. You become obsessed. I see them walking down the street like blocks away. I'm like, Dachshund.
Totally.
And yeah, so we went to this cute festival and they had races, although the races like it never happened. Just a guy walked up and down and was throwing free dog food out onto the audience. It must have happened at some point.
Some great merch though.
Oh yeah, I bought a bow, but I kind of turned on that bow. I think it.
Oh, you did?
It was taking away from his looks.
Can I suggest
instead
that bow?
Of adding to his
yeah, but that
looks.
bow is something you would wear.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it because
Yeah, I
I
could imagine
hate
you-
getting
yeah.
something and then realizing I made a mistake and then it's a waste. So my mind always goes into like, how can I use this? How can I use this? And I'm going to use it. I'm going to take that dog's bow and put it in my ponytail.
Sweet. I have some remorse over not purchasing the wash your wiener sign. I do think that would have
was
been a
quite
nice
funny.
addition to the household.
Maybe
but-
I'll do the artwork on Wash Your Wiener. It was Dachshunds, of course, but it was kind of cheesy. I feel like how would I make a sign? But I think I could do a better drawing of
I like these little flights of fancy, though, that with all of your various commitments, you're going into a dashy rebrand merch business, which is
taking all the corny stuff and making it cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cute.
But it was pretty fun. There was like hundreds of them walking around, and
Except ours was sitting by the cutest lady, and then he started pooing just behind her, like as we're sitting having a picnic. I was like, oh my God.
and you felt she was not expecting this
No,
behavior
you know
around
what it
hundreds
was?
of dogs.
She was taking a picture of him, and then he started pooing while she was taking a picture.
Can
and I was
you
like,
imagine?
Gus.
But can you imagine having the freedom that Gus has? Someone's taking a photo of you like, this is my time, man.
And then you sat down with delicious paella, and I was like, let's not sit down here. I just cleaned up. Anyway, that's a beautiful
Also,
moment.
yeah, and Lollapalooza's been going on. And we saw
Coachella? Bernie?
No, sorry, Coachella. Yeah, what am I
Bernie
saying?
Sanders had
Okay,
a
yes, Coachella is going on, and Bernie Sanders made an appearance. Did you hear his speech?
I wasn't correcting you. I thought Lollapalooza.
No,
might be-
I was wrong. I called it Lollapalooza.
I saw some of it. I mean, we all should have listened a long
was great.
time ago.
It was
Oh,
great.
it was fabulous. I just feel like I wish we'd all been early adapters to him.
Yeah, there's some good pushback happening to the current US administration. I liked seeing Neil Young showing up at the Fighting Oligarchy rally in LA to play his worst song.
I know.
Rocking in the Free World.
Oh, brutal.
How do you feel about that song?
Not great.
Like in the pantheon of Neil Young songs, that's
well-
like, I feel like he wrote it in 5 minutes and it's just become this staple. Because you feel you have to love it because the message is so good.
Doesn't he have other songs with a good message, or they're just like he can't really play like Old Man, or like they're sort of like sad? Or
No, I mean, if you're at a Fighting Oligarchy rally with
Yeah.
AOC and Bernie, you got to bust out Rocking in the Free World. But still, it's nice to see pushback.
I Love LA is actually not it's like a ironic. It's a love / goofing on LA song.
Oh, totally. Yeah, Randy Newman.
But
Yeah.
Rocking in the Free World is just earnest.
It's earnest, yeah. I
That's
don't
all
know.
right.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. It's just always, it's whenever that song comes up here, I was a bit like,
know.
yay. Yeah. Anyway, we got some
Questions?
listener questions. We put out a thing on
Yay.
TikTok and Insta and
I saw you
got
pull some
great
out.
ones. Yeah. So you want to get
Okay.
into this?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Alana Massey, 367, says, what's the most glamorous restroom / toilet that you've used? Okay, there's 3 questions here. Let's start with
Okay.
that one.
Glamorous / what?
Restroom / toilet.
I mean, the Chateau Marmont is pretty fun because it's right off this little bar and it's not necessarily sparkly and amazing. I also love bathrooms in like private old school clubs like the Devon Yacht Club because they're like all this like old beachy kind of wood stuff that's all very preppy, not glamorous. But then we just went to a really fun bathroom in Melbourne.
Oh, yeah, that Chobo Moto, whatever
At
that
a
restaurant was
Japanese
called.
restaurant.
Japanese restaurant,
And people just said, go to the bathroom when you go there. And I
Yeah.
thought, well, we've just been to another bathroom that had disco lights. And I was like, how can this one be better? This one was like, it was hard to explain how good it was.
It was a Japanese guy, a recording of a Japanese guy singing and giving inspirational pep talks coming over the speakers while there was some great decor.
So singing Country Road, Take Me Home. But then the decor was like his headshot where he's got his like chin on his fist, really cutesy Japanese. And then all the artwork and stuff in there. Like it was just the lighting, him sing. So you saw so much of his stuff and it was kind of adorable. And then you're hearing him sing Country Road in a Japanese accent or hearing him do an inspirational speech.
Yeah, I heard him say, a wise man once said, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you might find you get what you need.
Yeah.
Which was lovely.
Which was so cool. And so we all exchanged stories when we got back to the dinner table. Everyone went to the bathroom. So that wasn't glamorous, but wasn't that?
It was fun.
It's hard to explain how good that experience was in that bathroom.
That was a funny dunny, as we might call it. All right. Left Lane. Oh, this is an interesting question. It says, why do people seek magic when the reality we have is filled with more wonder and amazingness than we could ever explore in 100 lifetimes? Reality's already magical. Why do people seek zodiacs, crystals, ghosts, etc.?
Here. I'm so into that.
So, as someone who you have both sought these things and you've witnessed a partner who went deeply into this world. What do you think? Why do we do it?
I love fantasy. And when I was little, I loved fairies and gnomes and
gnomes are real, but anyway,
that's
the
right.
other ones
Our friend
are all
Martine really seriously said she really saw a real gnome. And it's true though. Like one day I was living in New York, I woke up in the morning and I couldn't remember if seahorses were real or magical. And so I was wandering around the West Village and I went into a pet's, like an aquarium store. And I was like, do you have seahorses? Thinking maybe they would be like, no. And they're like, yeah, right over there. And seahorse. So that's magic. That's how amazing. Like what I'm saying is seahorses are like a magical creature.
But did you feel disappointed they weren't magical, or you felt relieved that they were real?
I don't know, but I do want to talk about why do we like magic?
Yeah. Why do we want to live?
Control. We want to control reality.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
We want to feel in control.
I think for me, I think of like Harry Potter, right? It's a story about this kid leading a depressing life under the stairs, right?
Yeah.
And he's stuck. And magic enters and it opens up his sense of what's possible.
And also he's secretly
magic.
So it's like that need. We all want to secretly find out we're very special and we're the most, we have this specialness. And so I think it's like, it's a way to control the magic, like to think on one hand, I think it's fun to like tarot and it's like, look at the symbols there. And that's kind of an interesting way to kind of analyze stuff. But yeah, I think it's a sense of control. Like it's random. Even though life is magical, it's sort of, you feel like it's not fair. Sometimes it's random. So that's a way to kind of take all of that stuff and give it a story. And what do you think?
I think it does that, and it does the opposite, which is it takes responsibility off the individual. So if we live in a world full of supernatural powers, we have a excuse for why things aren't, it's like whether, there's a full moon or there's this cycle happening.
Right,
or there's it takes the responsibility off the intention and, capacity
it gives
of the
you
individual.
a sense of like you can understand, they're an Aries, that's why they're so fiery.
Exactly.
Or, I'm so loyal because I'm a dog.
I'm going to answer Goldie's FaceTime. Hey, Goldie, we're on the pod.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Anything you want to say to the beautiful babies?
I was wondering if you guys could take me to the Converse store, but I guess not. So can I Uber?
Yeah, you can Uber. And then you got an Easter show later, right?
Yeah, can you get me tickets when you're done?
Yeah, I will. Okay. Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Easter bags.
Show bags.
I'm learning. I'm learning the Australian things.
All right, next question. From Gavin Smith 0472. If Ione can talk about her exes, then Ben, tell us about Claire. I saw you guys in Byron Bay on a holiday with her. What's she like? Thank you, Gavin. Gavin, Claire, my ex, Claire Danes, she's a great person, super intelligent, very intuitive, very sensitive, artistic. We were together from 18 to 23 or 24. So, I now look back at being 18 to 24 and I think my brain was still forming for sure. I feel like a baby.
But that's a long time. And you said something interesting that because she's an actress, she was emotional and that was like helpful for you.
Yeah, I think because I grew up in sort of more of a sort of intellectual household, I guess. It was like a lot of intellectual debates and cutting conversation. I was always drawn towards more intuitive, more emotional partners.
Yeah.
And I think that is something, I think we often go out to either recreate things from our childhood and early family dynamics or to push against them. And that's a way, ultimately I found, you're such an interesting mix because you are super intuitive and earthy, but you're also very like put together and stylish, which I like. I like that balance,
Yeah, Claire Danes is so cool. And I was never jealous of her, but it was so funny. The person you dated right before me, Melanie, I was jealous of Melanie. It's so weird who,
I know.
And it's so funny.
And that was like a fling.
It was a fling, but it's funny how it's just, you can't, sometimes it doesn't make any sense. The people that make you jealous, sometimes not the people you should be jealous of.
Well, I think also you as an actor, like your actress, you understood, oh yeah, he likes actresses or whatever,
Yeah,
but when there was
maybe.
like a different type and you saw those photos like of us on a swing or something and it really captured your imagination.
There's always that
because of her
point.
bootcut jeans or something like that. I remember it anyway.
There's always a moment like when you first start dating, you're like, oh, they can do anything. You're not jealous. You're just kind of like in this sort of love and like acceptance of who the person is and what they've done. And then it gets in a couple months in there and then you see a picture of an ex and you're like, it's funny how it happens a little later.
Totally. For me, it's been interesting. My sister actually said to me the other night, she's like, how are you with the book, with everything? And I think people assume that I should be more threatened or uncomfortable with you talking about like past love life and sexual experiences and stuff than I am. I don't know if that's just because I feel so stable with you. Like we feel so together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's part of it. And
that
also,
might be part of it.
Also, you view people as like living their life and they're like a whole person who has had a life. Like we're not like very religious or anything where
we're not very religious. That's true. That's true. No, it's good to qualify that.
I didn't have to be a virgin before.
No, and that's right. And I always view it as sort of like, I don't know, the mark of like an interesting person to have let their heart, and the body follows the heart, to let it have adventures and experiences and connect. I just don't think there's anything shameful about that.
Also, you know how much I've worked on the destructive side of my dating and my life. Like you knew me for so many years, and we've been together for so long. Like every time I've been to therapy, I've come back and you're like my therapist, so you've already heard so much of my process and my evolution. And
out of the whole thing, the press
it's not
cycle.
like you met me. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Out of the whole press cycle, there was only one time like my buttons got pushed where someone had like misinterpreted what you said as if you and Adam would still be together if you hadn't cheated or something. That was the only thing I was like, Ione, that's like a crazy thing to say.
That's
but it was
brutal. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was bad. That was a weird.
You were more taking responsibility for the fact that you'd blown up the relationship, I think. Yeah.
And also just the concept that, you could be married to a bunch of people, but would you be, but I'm happiest with you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm happy too.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. Well, then this question you might have something to say about. Simo or Simo, I don't know, either way, great Australian nickname, says, Ione, does Ben speak his big words and intellect in the bedroom?
Oh, you always speak in those big words and intellect. What is that code for something?
No, I think she's just saying. I think she's saying the way I talk. I'm like,
Oh, right.
I'm a bit, I'm sort of an articulate person. Am I articulate, verbally articulate in the bedroom?
Well, I mean, we've become more comfortable talking in a sexual way. I think over the years, we're both kind of like private and vain or something, or afraid to. I don't know what it is.
Afraid to look stupid.
Afraid to look
probably,
stupid. So I think we were cautious in bed.
But I love talking.
Verbally
I love it,
talking, cautious. Now I'm like a forum section for you. I just tell you stories. But you're not like, you don't use big words.
I got to say, people might not realize this, but in the boudoir, you're more of the talker than I am. I'm a listener.
Yeah. Well,
And that's quite common, I think, for people that have like big personalities.
Yeah.
They kind of want to be more subservient.
but you get more cash. Like you're not like,
Yeah.
you're not clinical when you speak about the bot.
I don't bust out the thesaurus app in the bedroom.
No.
That's like, no. I keep it. I keep it in like civilian language.
You're open. You're great. You're perfect. My favorite lover.
Oh, thank you so much. Brad Dillon asks, how many cults has Ben joined? And I think the answer to that is 3, essentially.
But
However,
now the
I grew
Dachshund.
up in organized religion. I grew up, raised Jewish, and I do consider organized religion to be a cult too. So I do think if you are brought up in organized religion, you are started off on the journey already indoctrinated into what it feels like to be in a cult. And then I went out and found my own cults to join away from my family's traditions.
That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't brought up in, I was brought up culturally Jewish and Celtic combo, whatever. But you, interesting.
So I was in a Qigong cult in New York City. Then I had a Hindu guru who married us, and I used to go to India all the time. And then I was in the Peruvian ayahuasca cult. And now I am a Dachshund owner. And I feel like I'm ready to stop. I know the Dashi thing has caught me off guard. I didn't think there was another cult in my future, but here we are.
We only have 1. Most people you see have 2.
Yeah,
and
that's right. Yeah.
We've stopped ourselves from getting another one, which is good.
But I do think now I'm built to sort of critically think about whether something has cult-like vibes.
Yeah.
And even in terms of activism and stuff, I'm really wary of like joining any type of party line because I have a susceptibility to it also.
Yeah, and also groups end up having dynamics that are really interesting because during when we were on this political group, we would talk on the phone once a week.
In the 2020 election. Fighting against Trump
and
then.
there were the sort of quote unquote leaders of it, and you'd get on this call every week, and it was really just people talking about what was going on with the country, and it was very helpful actually. But there was inside complications, infighting, and it just gets very strange very fast.
I was once doing an ayahuasca journey, and this cult was very deep and complex and occult and all this stuff. And in the middle of the journey, I had a vision of all of the cult members basically on a roller coaster laughing and having fun together. And I realized that above any of the like yearning for the light or the desire for enlightenment or all these things that are meant to be why you're there, I was really just having fun with a group going on a ride.
Yeah.
And that I think is the appeal of most cults.
Yeah, that's the fun side.
Okay, Bronwyn Roy Gay says, has anyone eaten a nice sweet piece of fruit lately? I can't find any. They all taste sour and yuck. Is it just me, LOL? I don't know. But how's your fruit?
Come to Australia.
Yeah.
The fruit is good.
The fruit is really good.
In LA, you can't get passion fruit. You can, but it's like most of them are like dry inside.
Yeah, you very rarely see a good passion fruit at any
to
affordable
Australia
price.
And they're all juicy in there. Time of year too depends. It depends on the time of year, but I hate when you can't find a good piece of fruit.
Me too. Finally, Lapdogs Not Laptops asks the question, Ben, have you made peace with Powderfinger? Now, the answer to that is yes. Bernard Fanning, the singer from Powderfinger, years ago called me a precocious little cunt after I came out saying my album's the greatest Australian album of all time. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look back on the way, I don't know, I look back on the way I sort of like bumped heads with certain
But
artists.
did they
back
know
in the
you
day.
were doing performance art?
I don't
Do they
know.
now? Do they now?
I probably, but I think it sort of doesn't matter because I think you're allowed to find me annoying whether or not you think I'm joking.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Sure,
it is
sure.
annoying. Like I am annoying. Like I've always believed I have a punchable face, not just physically, but like what I, you know, my energy, like my chutzpah, like there are certain people who feel very annoyed or threatened by that. And I'm okay with that. And I kind of like being a troll a little bit. I do. And I think that like that's the punk rock side of me. I think annoying people to a certain degree helps them think outside the box. It helps move ideas forward. So I don't know. Part of me, I believe in being a troll, partly. I do. So anyway, Bernard Fanning, I have no issues with the guy. I've actually never met him in person.
Oh.
I met his wife who apologized for him. And I thought that was a bigger victory even than if he'd apologized. I like that. So yeah, but peace be unto you, Bernard Fanning. Yeah, all good. There's room for everybody. As Zoe Deschanel says, there's a lot of room at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Okay,
Listener
cool.
questions.
Nice.
We've got a few more. We'll do them next week and maybe
Okay.
we'll put a call out for a few more.
Yeah. We can have some more questions, maybe general questions. That was a specific question we asked, I think, for
I
people.
think it was just, do you have any questions?
Oh, I thought it was like about weird things or something.
No. Oh, kind of. Yeah, we did say
Yeah.
about scoliosis or something. And there were a couple of people that did want to talk about scoliosis.
Okay, next time we'll have a medical pod.
This weekend, I'm in the form of DJ Dad Bod. I am going to be DJing at Tumbalong Park in Darling Harbour for a school holiday disco.
Oh,
So that'll
wait,
be
does
kinda
that
fun.
mean, okay, so is that like teenagers? No.
I think it's more
Kids.
designed to families and
that's
stuff.
fun.
And then Sunday, I'm playing at the Barn on the Ridge in Moreton. I think you're going
Mm-hmm.
to come along to that. And yeah, fun stuff ahead. You can buy Ione's memoir, Say Everything, from your favorite retailers now. It's also streamable on Spotify and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And tickets for my shows through my website. And anything else you'd like to add to the beautiful babies before we
that's
wrap
great.
this one up?
No, can't wait to do it again.
Hell yeah. All right. We love you guys.
Love you.